Hello out there, and welcome to the No Shit Cast. I'm your host, Matt Frazier. Thanks for joining us on this journey. Sitting in the co-pilot seat, none other than the great wizard of historical knowledge himself, Mr. Eric Smith. How are you tonight, Mr. Smith?
I'm doing well.
Just well again.
I don't want to extrapolate yet.
No?
No.
You just hiding it, keeping it in there, and just being mysterious tonight.
Yeah,
is that the trick?
Yeah, I'm doing well.
Deep.
I'm doing
deep and well.
I'm doing so good I can't find the words.
All right. Sitting in the engineering booth, our own in-house Bond villain, Mr. Devlin. What's going on, Mr. Devlin? How are you tonight?
I'm good.
You good?
Yeah.
I know you always have so much to say.
Yeah.
It's like, you know this question's coming like every single time, right?
I'm just good.
Good is fine.
Yeah.
Is good. Is that good?
Good.
All right. Can you bring up the pre-show stuff for me, buddy? So
I'm really feeling like a guy that could discuss phrenology on the toilet, you know?
Oh, all right. Where's that coming from?
This morning.
Wait, you're explaining it to who while you're on the toilet?
A friend.
Is he in the room with you?
No.
Does he know you're on the toilet?
He did.
Like,
after
are you talking
I told
to him through the door, or is this a text message?
Well, he does now.
He does now, huh?
Via text.
Ugh. You ever wonder, I mean, like, how many conversations you actually... Never mind. I know.
Probably a lot.
Too many.
Someone's like, I'm so sick of your shit.
Yeah, I was talking with Reed about phrenology.
Oh, shout out to Reed.
Hey, Reed.
So, speaking of shout outs, remember we were talking in the last show that I thought German Dude from YouTube was now German Dude on Facebook.
Yeah.
And he listened to the show and he chimed in. And that's him.
Nice.
That's the same guy. So shout out German Dude. His name is Johannes Hinkelstein or Hinkelstein.
Yeah.
I don't know where you put the emphasis on the syllable there. I always get that one wrong. So
and I totally meant Cologne and not Copenhagen, which if I would have thought about it, I knew it was in Denmark, but I just became friends with this guy from Cologne, Germany.
Yeah.
And I think it was because of music.
Okay.
And
well, I was going to say he's definitely far better at geography than we are.
Yeah.
Obviously. So the point of that is he had pointed out that the city we had mentioned was actually in Denmark,
yes.
right? Not in Germany.
Correctly so.
Yeah, what the fuck do we know?
Yeah, I did not know that then.
So, and I think that actually came out in the last episode, right? So that would be episode 139, which
Speaking of which.
yeah, people are noticing there's an absence of video for, and that's because the new camera system did not, with a capital N,
did not
work out very well. So we're still trying to see if that's a salvageable thing or not. And Mr. Devlin and I are working on that. But right now, there may be a audio-only version of 139, depending on whether we can... like I said, whether we can pull that off or not. It's not looking good so far. So anyway, if anyone's got any questions about that, that's kind of what's happened there. Mike Barnett messaged me after we announced that the Making Sense movie trailer, behind the scenes movie trailer had come out, and they had immediately pulled it back because something got messed up in the process of publishing it, and it ended up published without the subtitles. So they pulled it back and then republished it. So that link has been reshared. If anybody, was checking that out and wondered, well, wait a minute, what the hell happened there? That's what it is. So it's back on the No Shit Cast Facebook page and group. Group and stuff on again on Facebook. So I guess we've handled that. So anyway, this next topic was one you wanted, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was going to say that the new Eminem album, I really, really like it. Check it out. It's pretty cool. It's called Music to be Murdered By.
Okay.
I think my favorite track on there is Godzilla.
Okay.
I too agree with you, Eric.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Yes, check it out. It's pretty great. Good, man. Really, really good. Solid.
I don't think he's ever made a bad album, right?
No, but this is better.
I mean, Eminem could read the fucking phone book, and it would be a good to a beat. It'd be a good album.
I think that should be a song on his next album.
Rapping to a phone book.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we hashtag rapping to a phone book. Eminem. Okay, so show question. What is the first? This is from Mr. Devlin. He's a bit of a video game nut, so he proposed this question. And the question is, what is the first video game you ever played, and which game do you like the most? We start with, it's Devlin's question. He must have an answer for this, right?
Is it the first or last answer, though?
Do you want some time to think about it?
What?
Like, do you want to answer your version of the question after we have, or
that's what I was hoping for.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Like, is that how you did? Is it a first answer or a last answer that you want to?
I'll answer first.
Okay.
So it's the first video game I ever played. I think it was. It was something with you. It was like a video game with you, but it started out as you as in my father.
Right. I was like, what video game was I in? Holy shit, was I a superhero?
No.
Okay.
We were
damn.
I was just
probably SOCOM or something like that, wasn't it?
SOCOM
or
on the
PlayStation
ATV.
2.
Yeah.
Or one of those games. Yeah, it very well could have been that.
Simpsons Hit and Run.
Yeah.
Apparently it was more popular than I thought.
Yeah, see, that's interesting because the first video games he played were in color. So wait till you get my answer.
And then
favorite video game.
It's a franchise. It's the Legend of Zelda series.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yep. I was talking, not to go to diverge here a little bit, but I was talking to my wife about how she's very much a fan of the SimCities. And she just started playing Civilization, like Civ 4 or something. And I was saying how, I started playing SimCity back in the early 90s, like when I was in the military. First time I ever played SimCity. Now, I think it was on Nintendo for some reason, one of the Nintendo systems, but that's the first time I ever played it. And that title has hung on for going on almost 30 years now.
It's been a while.
It's crazy how certain titles, like he's talking about, The Legend of Zelda, SimCity, Civilization, like World of Warcraft. There's these certain game genres that just hang on for forever, man. Oh, he's pulling up the wiki on it.
Oh, cool.
Oh, you have to zoom in on that. Yeah. Wow. What you got?
Yeah, look at the platforms. So the first SimCity game came out in 1989.
Yep.
And it was on Windows, Linux, PC, Wii, PlayStation,
Linux. Holy cow! Yeah, because it was a thing.
Yeah,
like it was a competitor for a while. The Linux OS. I mean, people still use it, but
that's a lot of consoles that it's been on.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, Atari.
Yep. Atari.
Sinclair ZX. Really? Wow, that's
nuts.
A weird computer. Look that up. That's a weird computer.
Which one?
Sinclair ZX Spectrum.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
It's like the American version of something that they had in Europe, I believe, or vice versa. If it's the one I'm thinking it is.
Oh, look at that thing.
I've seen that before.
I've seen it too. Yeah, I thought it was it brand labeled by Zenith?
No.
Because Zenith had like a computer gaming console for a while too.
It's like Timex or something.
Maybe.
And some other company in Europe, I think. Maybe.
Oh, man.
Look at that bad boy. Those were the good days of computing right there. So folks that aren't watching, just think of one step above cavemen and stones, and that's what we're looking at.
Because that was the second version of that too. I believe the first version was so bad that every time you typed a letter in, it had to redraw the keyboard. And there was a flash because it couldn't have the input of the thing you were typing and produce graphics at the same time.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it was like interposed then, huh? So it was like a flicker.
Yeah, every time you typed.
Death Chase, Micro Mega. Oh. Look at that joystick, huh? Oh.
Dang.
Yeah, buddy.
This should go on the PC Master Race subreddit.
See, this this was way before the days where pornography was ever even considered on a computer, man.
Right. Before the computer.
But I think what was that lounge what's it called?
It's easy for you to say.
Yeah, Lounge Lizard Larry or something like that was a game that was on some of these early consoles.
Oh God, I don't know.
Lounge Suit Larry or something like that. See if it's a thing. Leisure Suit Larry.
Leisure Suit Larry. Yeah, I know the series.
That was like early. Yeah, bring some of that shit up, man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was like some of the early, like risque video games. Yeah.
There's a lot more of these games. Some people I watch on YouTube play this game for a joke.
Yeah.
This is actually this one right here. This one's like one of the newer games.
Well, of course, the graphics have gotten much, much better, but you can see how cartoony they stuck with like a genre with the artistic style. It's very cartoonish. But yeah, that was sort of like the early. That was and then you had these things called bulletin boards, where you could download images, and that was the first like internet porn type thing. You could go download, but it took you like an hour to download one image when the digital images first, because you did it over dial-up. You had like a list of every bulletin board had multiple phone numbers you could call into.
Yeah, when I had dial-up, I was trying to download the Scorpion King, and it came out on DVD before I got it downloaded.
There was this,
oh, really?
Yeah, it really did. I just went out and bought it.
It was crazy, huh?
Yeah, I had like 80-some% of it downloaded, but
oh, good Lord. All right, what the hell were we talking about? Well, how did we get here? Oh, favorite video games. Yeah, we went down like a genre. Okay, so, Eric, your answers, favorite video games.
First video game I ever played was Pong. I think it was off of the Odyssey system. I think Odyssey Pong.
Yeah.
It was just Pong, and you hooked it up to your TV where the antenna hooked up, and you played Pong with it.
Yep.
By golly. You put the spin on the paddle and the paddle on the spin. I put the pin, put the spin on the paddle and the paddle
Pong
on the
was
spin.
the shit, and it's still a fun game.
Yeah.
Still a fun game. So what's your favorite of all time, though?
Oh, Civ.
Civilization?
Yeah, especially Civ 4, the one where they had Leonard Nimoy reading all the quotes when you'd have a technological breakthrough.
Right.
And Leonard Nimoy would say the quote. I love that. And you get to like make religions in that one too, which is fun.
It's a lot of interesting.
I always go for Judaism first.
I would have to say that. Why Judaism first? That's
my favorite religion of all time.
What's the one you know the most about, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's why you know the most about it. I would have to say the first video game I ever saw was definitely Pong. But I didn't get to play it because I was little. But the first one I ever played was Black and White Asteroids. You just spun the ship around. You had a thruster and a fire button, and that was and the Space Invaders asteroids. Those were always sitting right next to each other. And with the paper out money, that was the first thing I stuffed quarters into, and it was one of those two. Dunk, 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 dunk. The Space Invaders coming to get you.
Yeah. Yeah, they can't.
I would say my favorite of all time, and the one that I go back to the most is SimCity. But my favorite game right now is definitely Overwatch. Yeah, I love Overwatch, man. I've been playing that for a year and a half solid now, if not closer to 2 years, and I still haven't gotten bored with the game at all. It's amazing.
Who's your favorite hero and who's your least favorite hero?
Well, of course, Lucio is my favorite hero. Yeah. Right? And the wall sliding and all that crazy ass shit. But my least favorite, I don't think there is I could say that there's a least favorite. There's just ones I've played a lot more than others. And it's by a tremendous margin, too. Okay. Yeah, like Lucio, I've played like 10 times or 20 times more than the next character. So it drops off really, really fast. And there's just a bunch I really haven't played very much. But I've tried them all, and I haven't seen. It's just trying to figure out the game mechanics and everything, how that character fits in. And playing one character for so long and seeing how the game kind of progresses and moves around and stuff, and that makes playing those other characters a lot easier. You kind of know what to expect, right? You're like, oh, I'm doing this now. So
yeah, the designs at least are all just like top notch. They're really good. Blizzard did a very good job of designing the heroes. But for me, gameplay wise, Genji's my least favorite.
Really,
he's too difficult. I
Really?
can't play Genji in normals.
Oh, right. Well, okay. Now that's a whole nother discussion, isn't it? So never mind. We'll put that aside, but now, okay. So based on Devlin, your question there, then who's your favorite game company? Who do you think is the best game company of all time? Because I would say Blizzard, right?
Blizzard's pretty good. Nintendo for me. I'm a huge Nintendo fan. I am not disappointed by anything they put out. There's like minor gripes and whatever, like every company.
See, I don't even consider console. That's
Nintendo. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, their impact has been enormous. How about you?
I guess I'd say BioWare.
BioWare?
Yeah.
Oh.
Generally like the stuff they put out.
Yeah, I don't think Blizzard's ever put out a bad title. I don't think BioWare probably has either.
Yeah, Blizzard's always had good titles. They just didn't have the kind of things that I was interested in. So that's the thing.
It's funny because they're a company that's like, hey, we're going to release this game in December or whatever. And you always have to go, of what year? Because I've seen them announce a rollout was going to be in months and then delay it. I swear it felt like 2-3 years on titles because they just won't put something out until it's ready.
That's
Overwatch
good,
2.
But I'm sorry, I had two questions at once. Okay,
no, I just said that's good.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Like Overwatch 2. I have not seen anything updated for Overwatch 2.
For Overwatch 2, and it won't. That game will not come out until it's ready. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Like I don't give a fuck if like the fans are rabid and everybody's complaining.
Hey, this
and
isn't
like
Hello Games, is it?
No.
Oh my!
I would much rather have a title that you pay for and it's playable right out of the box, and you don't have to it's not all glitchy and
you don't have to chase the lead designer down and chase him off to an island somewhere.
Although I do gotta say the one
they
game
did salvage that though.
that I have a gripe with Blizzard is World of Warcraft. Like the fact that you have to buy the game if you want it, like the new expansion, and then you have to pay a monthly subscription to actually keep playing it.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Like Kiernan just got a 6-month subscription, even though they technically take off enough money that's equivalent for like a month. So you're technically paying for 5 months.
Right.
He goes, it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. It's too much money
For the game.
Yeah, just all around to be able to continuously play it, and then I wish he would just buy the expansion and then continue to play it.
I was ticked because they did the whole vanilla WoW thing.
Up to level 20.
And I thought it was going to be the vanilla WoW one, which was the old original WoW all the way to the end. Okay. But I thought it was going to come out with a free to play version where you could buy in-game content, or which would be silly because it's vanilla WoW, or it would have advertisements in it. I thought, they'll put ads in it and they'll make it free because it's just the original game.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a no-brainer because it would get people that normally wouldn't even try it to try it enough and be like, wow, I think I do want to buy this subscription now, because I played it through vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's only available if you have an active account, which means you have to have, like, Kiernan could play it, right?
Oh, yeah.
You have to have an active account. But anybody can play the game now up to, like you said, level 10 for free on any character class, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blizzard.
That's pay to play, right? I mean, that's but they sort of perfected that model because that thing has been churning out money for them.
Well, yeah.
Like a machine for decades now.
But I feel like they shouldn't be doing the
Nuts.
subscription thing.
No?
What's the reason for that? Just to keep more money?
The Blizzard Empire needs new pipes.
Yeah.
Well, definitely a big chunk of that, or a chunk of that, let's be honest, goes towards the maintenance and upkeep of the server, building expansions, fixing glitches and bugs. Like that's a world where a glitch doesn't last very long.
And by pipes, I meant plumbing. Which is kind of what you're saying, the infrastructure.
Yeah, the infrastructure of that has to support all of that online, so there's a big chunk of money, but sure, it's like, that world's already been developed for them now they're just sort of reissuing it and getting paid on it over and over and over again.
Or as the big pharmaceutical companies would say, that money's for R&D.
That's the R&D. Yeah, that's all.
We're going to come out with something real big in the future.
I'm not justifying it. I don't pay it. I'm with you. I don't think it's worth it. But people do, and the people that do have the ability to do that. But there's not very many massively multiplayer worlds, right, of any kind of renown, like World of Warcraft, that is free to play, that's worth a shit. Like, I've tried them. I mean, some of them are okay. That's not massively multiplayer.
Really? You can play. No, that's right. It is.
It's like it's single player, and then up to like 5-6 man teams, 6-person teams. I shouldn't say man.
Okay, right.
Right. It's not a persistent world like World of Warcraft is.
That's true.
So there's a lot of maintenance and stuff that goes. What the hell are we doing here? Like doing a technical session on video.
All right.
On video games.
Welcome to our new video game podcast.
Yeah. Video games with Matt and Eric.
To take a turn on the rabbit hole that's already opened up in this. Have you guys seen the new Picard series?
No, not yet. Have you watched the first episode?
Well,
or
of course I have.
Did they just release them all so you can binge them?
No. They're going to make you wait every Thursday.
Oh, like with a Mandalorian.
4
Yeah.
or 5 a month.
Yeah. Hopefully there'll be like 22 to 24 episodes in a
Well, that's the way to do it,
year.
because otherwise people would just sign up for the subscription for 1 month, binge them out, and then boom, gone. Yeah.
I hope Netflix doesn't start doing it then. Start doing that as their
haven't
putting out episodes.
They've already done that, right? I don't think everything on Netflix. Am I wrong about that?
When The Witcher came out on Netflix, all the episodes were out.
Yeah, but I don't. Right, and I agree. But doesn't some of the content they have come out serially on Netflix? I know it does on Amazon Prime.
I've got it, but I don't know. Everything I've seen so far is already there.
It's already been full, right?
Far, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong about that. I could be.
Yeah, Stranger Things does that too.
But
I can't think of a show that doesn't.
But they wait and then a strange amount of time between seasons sometimes. Like they'll put 2 seasons out and then they'll be like a year and a half. Well, goodbye, and then they'll have season 3.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah. So it's like I've lost interest in like 4 or 5 things like that.
Yep. Because it took so long to get the second season out.
Yeah, or
like,
third or whatever. Yeah.
It's like I've moved on.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I wonder if that's a tactic too.
So, well, it would. What do you mean a tactic?
For streaming a subscription, and so that you're not just like you said, putting them all on there. People binge watch
for sure.
them and cancel the subscription.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
They get you hooked in a season or 2, and then you gotta wait, and maybe you'll just watch some other shit while you're waiting.
Yeah,
the stuff.
Grand Tour, which was like the guys from the old Top Gear on BBC, have a show, Grand Tour, that comes out on Amazon Prime, but it's a show a week, or whatever. They just don't dump the whole season, and I think you're right. I think it's to keep people subscribed.
In the new Star Trek, they described why Tribbles breed so rapidly.
Okay.
It was pretty cool. I won't give it away, but it was in a short.
I was just about to ask.
It was in a short, like a 10, 15-minute short video that they do, and they'll do like 2 or 3 of them, maybe 4 or 5, up until when it's time to do the new season.
Okay.
But
Mr. Devlin's got to look up tribble breeding now.
You don't know what a tribble looks like.
It's a ball of fur.
Yeah.
Tribbles.
I don't remember.
It looks like a stegosaurus.
We'll go to images.
I gotta be specific.
Trouble with tribbles. Yeah.
Oh.
See? They breed like rabbits on meth.
Yeah.
Look at this.
And they're like, the tribbles. Yeah, they sort of take over the ship, That's the problem with them.
Oh, this is great.
They're just balls of fur. How would you like to be the prop guy? I had to put all that together, right?
Oh, no.
The tribbles are everywhere, Captain. I don't think she can take anymore.
Yeah, there's one from the...
Oh, look at that.
So, yeah, they just go like ape shit and start breeding.
So it's called Short Treks?
Yes, that's the one there, the trouble with Edward. That's the one that they explain that in. Because, they explain also through the series why the Klingons have ridges on their head at one point and not at other points, too.
Oh, really? So they patched the holes?
Yeah, yeah. That was in Star Trek Enterprise.
Plot holes or whatever.
That's cool, actually.
Yeah. It was a virus disease, like they were experimenting with augments, which is what Khan was. They had some augment DNA, and they were experimenting with it, and they got basically a virus that caused them to kind of look more human. It was it's good episodes. It's like a string of 3 or 4.
I don't remember. I didn't remember from the original Star Trek movies that Khan was somehow augmented.
Yeah.
I guess I missed that. But last time I saw that, I was much younger. So
he tried him and his followers, who were all augmented genetically and were superior humans, tried to overtake the planet in the middle of World War III or right after, and he was defeated. And him and his closest followers were they escaped in a sleeper ship.
Yeah.
And drifted for a long time until Kirk found them in Space Seed. And then, of course, comes back later in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, where Chekhov seems to remember Khan from the ship, but when Space Seed aired, Chekhov wasn't a member of the crew.
Oh, good Lord, yeah. Oops.
Yeah.
All right, you guys want to do some articles?
Yeah.
All right, so first one up here comes from, I don't know, who is that? Disclosed TV. Yeah.
Under the title Cryptozoology.
So let's put a pin in that and say I'm gonna find this source maybe a little worthy of questioning, but it looks like an interesting article. It says a bigger than a submarine, deep sea researchers film gigantic primeval shark. During their investigation on the seabed, deep sea researchers came across a gigantic primeval shark that cast a monstrous shadow over their own submarine. Spectacular images.
Ooh.
Recordings of a giant. Okay, a research team from Ocean X was on. I wonder if that's a real thing. Sounds like it should be. Ocean X was on a mission to catch a 6-gill shark. With a diving boat, they explored the depths of the sea in search of the predator whose genus existed long before the dinosaurs. And suddenly the researchers found themselves in front of a specimen of this prehistoric shark. From the darkness of the deep sea, the beast emerged. Ooh, it sounds like it should have music there, doesn't it?
Yeah, ominous.
The cello. The scientists were shocked, and not only because of the unexpected proximity to the creature, but also because of its size, which exceeded their own submarine.
We're going to need a bigger submarine.
We're going to need a bigger boat. That's from Jaws, isn't it? Yeah. We're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
One of the researchers can be heard in the incredible video recordings. It's a monster. Fortunately, there were no further incidents, and the mission was successfully completed. The researchers succeeded in attaching a satellite tracking device to one of the sharks, which enables the scientists to determine the whereabouts of the animal for research purposes.
That must have been fun. All right, tag that giant shark. No. Leave it alone.
I'm not pissing him off. You piss him off.
Yeah, right.
I wonder if we can see this.
Oh, it's a minute.
What the fuck? Yeah, that's just a bunch of mud and stuff. That's.
I think we'll see it in like a
yeah,
second.
well, she's going to come swimming by.
Oh, I don't like this. This does not make me feel Oh!
Good Lord, that's large.
Holy Christ almighty, that'll make you shit your pants.
I was just trying to sleep.
Yeah. Well, okay, so this is a perspective thing here, could be too, guys. All right. So again, the skeptic in me says maybe that wasn't a submarine with people in it, but it sure looks like it's somebody moving a camera around, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks a lot bigger than the outside structure that I'm seeing.
So that's a big damn shark.
That perspective is so ajar. That would have to be a miniature.
Oh, it's still there. Holy shit.
Oh
now
God.
It's like, hey, do you guys need these parts? I'm biting off the submarine.
Oh, look at
the
his
eyes
eye.
on that thing. Ugh, it's like looking at him.
I'm sorry. This is actually a fear of mine.
Sharks? You don't like sharks?
No, not just sharks, but like things under me in the water.
Oh, really?
Like if I can't see below me, I need to get out.
You're one of those guys that's at the beach and something like seaweed drags by your leg or something, and you like just pop up and become Messiah-like as you run into the beach.
Yeah,
Man, I want them to find a megalodon over there.
I would not like that at all.
Giant.
All right, that's a big shark.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Sharknado is just more terrifying.
All of a sudden, right?
Much more probable now.
That's a shark the size of a killer whale.
Actually, that's interesting you say that. Tornadoes that happen in the sea that come onto land.
I think they're called water spouts, right?
Yeah,
or something like that.
They actually suck up fish.
Yeah, they do.
It's insane. So Sharknado.
Blast them into the...
That's what the fish say, too. It's nuts.
nuts. First I was over there. Now I'm over here.
Dying.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
This one actually was because of German dude. This was in response, I think, to something we discussed in one of the podcasts. It comes from physics.org or phys.org or whatever the hell it is. You can look it up. It's an article, Newton discovers scorching gas in Milky Way's halo. Milky Way has a halo. Because we were talking about how the...
Monchos. Yeah. Massively compact, dark matter.
Right.
Things that are around all the galaxies.
Yeah.
Kind of hold them in so they don't fly apart.
It says ESA's XMM Newton has discovered that gas lurking within the Milky Way's halo reaches far hotter temperatures than previously thought and has a different chemical makeup than predicted, challenging our understanding of our galactic home. Do you feel challenged?
No.
Okay. I'm just saying. A halo is a vast region of gas, stars, and invisible dark matter surrounding a galaxy. It is a key component of a galaxy, connecting it to a wider intergalactic space and thus thought to play an important role in galactic evolution. This sure sounds similar to a lot of the other topic stuff we've had on the show previously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Until now, a galaxy's halo was thought to contain hot gas at a single temperature, with the exact same temperature of the gas dependent on the mass of the galaxy. However, a new study using ESA's XMM Newton X-ray Space Observatory now shows that the Milky Way's halo contains not one but three different components of hot gas, with the hottest of these being a factor of 10 hotter than previously thought. 10 times hotter, Mr.
Yeah,
Smith.
that's hotter than they thought.
That's hotter. This is the first time multiple gas components structured in this way have been discovered in not only the Milky Way, but in any galaxy.
So this is kind of like the plasma that was around our star that we talked about, right? So I'm wondering if it's got that same property where it's spread out enough that it's not hot. Like if you travel to it, it wouldn't burn
Space
you.
plasma.
Yeah, or... and I'm also wondering if it's connected with dark matter, if it's in these layers and stuff, like oil would separate in water, if maybe this is how this gas separates in dark matter.
Mm-hmm. It says, quote, "We thought that the gas temperatures in galactic halos ranged from around 10,000 to 1 million degrees, but it turns out that some of the gas in the Milky Way's halo can hit a scorching 10 million degrees, said Sanskriti Das, a graduate student at The Ohio State University."
Celsius or?
Doesn't matter. 10 million.
I think it does.
Maybe Kelvin.
And they could be Kelvin.
They were using degrees earlier.
Yeah. Lead author of the new study. That's really freaking hot. Quote, while we think that gas gets heated to around 1 million degrees as a galaxy initially forms, we're not sure how this component gas got so hot. It may be due to winds emanating from the disks of stars within the Milky Way. There's those threads again.
Yeah. Well, winds emanating from the stars could be like basically the solar wind of the galactic disk, I guess is what they're saying, that's heating up the gas. Could be that. Could be gravity waves. Interesting other things it could be.
Let's see here. Quote, "We analyzed the blazar's light and zeroed in on its individual spectral signatures. The characteristics of light that can tell us about the material it passed through on its way to us, said blah, 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 blah. All right, so this is on the Facebook page, folks. If you want to read it, it's just very technical, but that's why he shared it with you. He shared it for you specifically.
Oh,
Eric.
Cool. Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
You're going to want to take a deep dive into that.
Sure, yeah. Then I'll come back and say, hey, I will check it out. Thank you.
So thanks, German Dude. Woo,
yes,
German Dude.
I will check it out.
Devil horns for German Dude.
And the next show, remind me to say something about it if I don't think of it.
Oh, after you read it?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
For sure. Yeah, put that in the next show's, whatchamacallits. What do they call that? You know what I'm saying? In the OneNote. So while he's doing that, I can't read the article, though. So I probably should have said, hey, Devlin, write this down.
Okay.
Improvise.
That's okay. I can improvise. I think people should go out and take a look at the idea that when ancient Greeks stumbled upon Paleolithic bones of
Finally
dinosaurs,
got it in the show, huh?
Yes.
You remembered.
I did.
Yeah, you've been trying to get this topic in the show for like a while now, right? We just keep forgetting to bring it up.
I do, yeah, because there's no articles on it.
It's hard to find.
It is, yeah. It's something I was going to write a paper on in one of my history classes, and the professor said maybe I should pick a topic that's a bit more documentable. Or
more explored, yeah.
Yeah, because our university library connects to dozens of other, like maybe 50 other college libraries,
right,
and other like city libraries and stuff. So when you search, it searches all around the country. Okay. And I could only find one book that addressed the topic.
In the whole country?
Yeah. And
so the topic is...
So
I interrupted you. I apologize.
That's right.
I just did it again to apologize.
The idea that the ancient Greek people occasionally stumbled upon dinosaur bones, and that is where they got the idea of the Titans from in their mythology that eventually their Olympian gods took over from. Because there's a couple of important factors in this theory.
It does, doesn't it, Devlin? I just seen him go, that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
One of them is that in ancient Greek literature, like the Iliad and the Odyssey and some other books, there is descriptions of the battlegrounds of the gods, and they correspond almost exactly with ancient paleontologists' dinosaur graveyards. Like where paleontologists will go and dig up dinosaur bones, and there's a dinosaur graveyard because it was a tar pit, or there was some kind of thing there that captured a lot of animals, quicksand or whatever it would be. They have a correlation. They overlap like dramatically. Mm-hmm. And also too, in Greek temples and ancient Greek temples that have been uncovered by archaeologists, they have found reconstructions of dinosaur bones in these Greek temples, to where they've tried to make them anthropomorphic, like a human with arms and legs and stuff. And they're pretty sure that that's where the legend of the Cyclops comes, because they have found woolly mammoth skeletons that were built up to be like people, and like the skull has a big hole right in the center of its head. But that's because that's where the trunk of the woolly mammoth came out. Okay. So they think that that's where the legend of the Cyclops comes from. Prometheus, yeah. And also there's other correlations, like with griffins, the legends of griffins and stuff, and some fossils that have been found. And they've also found dinosaur bones on ancient Greek temples that have had ruins carved in them, Greek ruins and stuff. So they definitely venerated these to some degree, because they took them back to their temples and they knew about them. And their assumption was that they were the giant gods, the Titans that were defeated by their Olympian gods.
I find that very plausible.
Yeah, and the legend
very plausible
of dragons is a universal legend.
Giant lizards, right?
Yeah, because there's legends of dragons in Europe and in the Orient, all over the place, Aztecs.
Well, okay, I've seen that episode of Ancient Aliens, okay, and I'd just like to point out that that Legend of Dragon is in every culture because people were actually seeing dragons flying in the sky. That's why every culture has a Legend of Dragons. Now tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Okay. How am I?
I want my dragon.
So now tell me how I'm wrong, right?
No, I'm just saying they more likely they found dinosaur bones in the earth just like we do today, and they made the assumption that back then there were giants in the earth.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't dinosaurs translate into giant lizard or something like that?
So, yeah.
Devlin, can you look that up? Does dinosaur translate into giant lizard?
But I think that was a deliberate nomenclature situation where they decided to make their names mean that.
Right.
But yeah, you should check in on that because
check in on it.
Yeah, check in.
There's nothing to check. There's no literature out there about it at all. Terrible lizard.
There might be.
Okay, yeah.
That was a couple of years ago. Well, that was actually like 3 years ago or so.
It does mean fearfully giant lizard.
Yeah.
Great, fearfully giant leaping lizards.
So I'm going with very likely, very plausible then that the myth that could be the Zenith Nexus for the myth of the Titans Nexus.
Yeah, the genesis of it.
The beginning. Yeah.
I ended up doing my paper on the Phalanx military marching order through history. We have documentation of that up to 5,000 years ago in something called the Vulture Stele, which shows men all standing in these ranks that are as a phalanx formation and stuff. So that's been with us for 5,000
Well,
years.
yeah, shields, spears, and a phalanx were pretty devastating.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a tough thing to get past.
I mean, we still march around to this very day in phalanx formation.
Yeah, I did it in boot camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a special flag for it.
So that's been going on for at least 5,000 years. And 5,000 years was the date at which that picture was made. And then they already had obviously standing armies that were trained, right? Like that probably was much older even than that, just before history was written down.
It's funny how efficient the human species has developed ways to kill itself.
Well,
kind of sad actually.
Yeah, right? Tells you something about the human condition, doesn't it?
I saw a thing about the man who invented TNT, because TNT was meant. Yeah, it was because it was meant for mining. He found out that people were using it in like battles and war and against each other. He regretted even inventing TNT.
Well, I think that's the point of the Nobel Peace Prize was because he felt so bad about how many people had been killed by his invention.
Wasn't part of his prize free beer for life?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's in addition to the money, right? And I think it's $1 million still, but.
And free beer?
Yeah, I think this particular guy got free beer for the rest of his life.
But isn't it one specific brewery that does that or something?
Well, there was for him,
like
he lived by it, I think he lived by wherever it was that he had. So I don't know if it was a special case for him,
right,
or if it's actually something that they do all the time.
Right.
It'd be much cooler if they did it all the time.
It really make you.
But I thought it was just like.
Are you rethinking the whole Nobel Peace Prize thing now?
Yeah,
like,
sure. I mean,
and you can get it in like. Niels Bohr. Yeah. Niels Bohr got a house. Yeah, Niels Bohr did. With a house with a pipe that ran into the brewery.
Okay, yeah. I knew it was somebody that did. Niels Bohr. He's the guy that came up with our current understanding of what powers the sun and the fusion and all that stuff.
It says that it's Carlsberg too. Too far. Okay. Where was I?
Copenhagen. He lived in Copenhagen.
Apparently, Niels Bohr is one of the greatest scientists who ever lived and a personal hero of the author. He was also a favorite of his fellow Danes when he lived in Copenhagen, which is in Denmark, we found out from German dude, Devil Horns German dude. Today, however, I found out just how much they loved him. Apparently, after he won the Nobel Prize in 1922, the Carlsberg Brewery gave him a gift, a house located next to the brewery. And the best perk of the house, it had a direct pipeline to the brewery so that Bohr had free beer on tap whenever he wanted.
Man.
That's a legit thing, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think they do it for every Nobel Prize winner.
Just do something so awesome. You just get free beer the rest of your life. Dude, you're awesome. Free beers forever.
Just got in the kitchen. There's another tap or whatever, and it's just beer from the brewery.
That's science.
That's cool.
That's science right there.
That would make a lot of people passionate about science if that was just like you said, was just a condition of. Man,
you do something cool enough to get free beer.
All kinds of people jumping into the science fields and stuff. They call STEM fields.
I created a religion, yeah, but did you get free beer?
No.
That's a science prize.
That'd be a hell of a religion. I want the free beer religion.
Dionysus.
Is that what
goddess of the wine? And
I guess that would be it. I'll look into that.
Partying and wine. Woo.
Okay, so we can go can that. All right, so we talked about that finally, right?
We did.
Yeah.
Yay. Are we done? Did you get what you needed?
Did everyone get what they wanted out of that?
Yes.
So, who does this come from? I can't read that.
Kotaku.
Kotaku?
Yes.
I just found a hitch in our system here, by the way. I can't read the text for the website.
Do you want me to read the?
Yeah, you're gonna have to from now on.
Okay.
What is it?
Like, Devlin, who's this come from?
Kotaku.
Oh, that's excellent. We'll just do it that way.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Deceptions. The first D&D players push back on the legend of Gary Gygax. You picked this one.
I did.
Damn it, man! Throwing down some gauntlets here, huh?
I don't know about all that, but at least it's something I know a little bit about.
You know a fucking lot about this. Probably more than any human being I've ever met. Everybody calls Rob Kuntz last. Huh? He says. Those who... Devlin and I are competing now. Those who want to know about the history... okay, straighten up. Those who want to know about the history of Dungeons and Dragons start with co-creator Gary Gygax's kids, one of Gygax's biographers or D&D publishers, Wizards of the Coast. As they're wrapping things up, they might get around to dialing up Kuntz. Am I saying that right? Or Kuntz? Kuntz?
I think.
Just don't say it wrong.
Kuntz, a 63-year-old game designer. And once they call him, he tells them the same thing. Everything they know about the creation of the tabletop role-playing game is, in his opinion, sorely mistaken or flat out wrong. There's a myth that's been propagated in the industry, Kuntz told Kotaku during an interview in February of this year. If you keep digging into this, you're going to come up with a story that will enrage people and expose the truth.
That's quite a statement, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. God damn.
Because the people that I know from the gaming community sort of revere this guy.
Gygax.
Yeah, Gary Gygax.
Yeah, and that would be the popular conception of like what the average person might know about the creation of D&D was that it was pretty much like who made D&D? What's your guys' answer?
Gary Gygax.
I have no clue. I just go with Gary Gygax because that's what you guys tell me.
And that's kind of like the essence of this article. It's a little bit deeper than that, and that there was other people involved, and specifically Dave Arneson, who is oftentimes forgotten what his part was in the creation of role-playing games. And that's what the heart of this article is about, and the heart of what...
well, we've had some of the people that were involved in this back even then on the show in some of the early episodes, right? Or real close to it.
Close to it, but probably not going quite back as far as this guy. This guy was a kid, and his mom had a nervous breakdown, and his dad was not around. His brother was in... like some sort of a juvenile detention area or something, and he was kind of by himself, and he was essentially adopted by the Gygax family and was there at its inception and was able to kind of see it and stuff. So, he has a particular insight into it.
Okay.
He liked me, then he got mad at me.
So you know him then. Yeah, you've met this guy?
I met this guy like once.
Okay.
At a convention. Like, I don't know him, but we were friends on Facebook, and then we weren't for a while, and I think that was because I was friends with other Gygax family members.
Okay.
And I said something about that on their website, and he got on there and he got all pissed off at me and said he was going to sue me for what I wrote.
Their website or like their Facebook?
Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook.
And sue you?
Yeah, for writing. I don't even know what it was, but basically just saying that he got mad at me or something like that. And I was like, well, fine, do what you got to do, man. I'll stand by whatever. Like whatever. It was no big deal or nothing.
You can sue me twice. You still ain't getting shit.
Well, I mean, there's nothing to sue.
Right.
There's nothing. I wasn't saying something bad about him or anything other than my own opinion or anything, and that was just in
sort of in passing,
unfriending me. I think without really saying anything to me or anything. I mean, it could have been a business decision. I don't know. I wasn't making a big deal.
I do know life will go on, right?
Right. Yeah. I wasn't like upset about it or nothing, but he got real upset that I mentioned that. And at any rate, though, I've read his book, and I know what his gripe is with D&D. And essentially, and this is my opinion, right? So, Gygax had co-authored a book of miniature war game rules called Chainmail for medieval combat.
I've heard of this. Yep.
Yeah, and there was
probably from you.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. There is a fantasy supplement attached to the end of these combat rules, where you could fight things like dragons and orcs and that sort of thing
using the same combat rules.
Yeah.
Okay.
As they had developed for the medieval warfare, which were legitimate for any kind of recreation of a medieval battle within that rule system, and that's what they were doing. And Dave Arneson, who was at a college, I believe in Minnesota, was using these rules as a basic template to handle combat in a game where people were playing individual characters and role playing, and there was this idea of exploring a dungeon and then the idea of progression being had and stuff.
Okay.
And so, in essence, the argument is that, well, let me get ahead of myself, but at some point, Gygax and Arneson talk about this thing that Arneson is doing, right?
Okay.
Where he's kind of like doing the first D&D game. He's having these people play one character at a time, and his Blackmore campaign, and they're coming over in his basement and they're rolling dice, and he's pretty much making the rules up on the fly, but using chainmail as a basis for combat, right?
Okay.
And so it's kind of like the first D&D game, and certainly it's the first concept of things like role playing and the using your imagination and playing an individual character and progression.
So is the gripe of who derived it first?
Yeah, because they got together and they talked about it, and then Gary went back and wrote some rules. He basically codified it.
Okay.
He's like, well, this could be done better, and he kind of codified it and started this company and stuff. And on the Gygax side, as far as I understand it, Dave Arneson couldn't produce in that way, in a company fashion where you're making a product, you're writing it and getting it ready to sell for a company.
And there's deadlines and whatever, and announcements and marketing.
But the other side of it is Dave says that because Gygax started this company, they were trying to push him out of it so that all of the money and royalties and decisions could be solely Gygax's responsibility, right?
Okay.
So, and he sued Gygax a couple of times over it. And then, like, by the time third edition was out, Wizards of the Coast put both of their names back on the game, since they were co-creators, both having contributed aspects of what we consider a modern-day role-playing game into that. And then now there's no names on it, on the front cover when you get a D&D book. It's just the company, Hasbro has it. But yeah, I mean, that seems to be the crux of the problem, is that he was kind of pushed out, or he faded away, or most people understand or believe that it's solely Gary Gygax's invention. It came unbidden from his mind, and it wasn't connected to anybody else's contributions and stuff.
So it's a want for notoriety.
I mean,
it's like
the guys that were involved are dead. So the people that's talking about it are either Gary's kids or this guy, essentially.
So both guys, Gary Gygax and
Dave Arneson,
are both dead. So everyone that's splitting hairs is sort of in the ideological camps now.
Yeah.
Religion A, religion B sort of feel to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too bad. Well, there's a new documentary called The Secrets of Blackmore, and it attempts to get to the bottom of who really incepted the world of fantasy role-playing. So that's what you were getting at, yeah?
Yeah. And he had aspects that Dave Arneson that definitely contributed to what it is. One of the big points that they make is that Dave Arneson had the biggest impact on what it is because his ideas were about role-playing and progression and story as a role player in a world.
Right.
Like that and those are concepts that apply to every role-playing game, no matter what the mechanics of that role-playing game is. The mechanics can be totally different, right, in a game, but the idea of how you approach role-playing a character and how you play is synonymous with any kind of a role-playing
Correct.
game.
Yeah.
So their argument is that he had an actual bigger influence on what it is that we do than Gygax did.
Okay. It might be true. That might be true.
No, maybe.
Yeah. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? And that's them going back. And now, obviously, there's a timeline here where it started with Gygax and then went to the next guy and then morphed again back to Gygax, right? So it's, they sort of collaborated.
Yeah, they did, and some of the first iterations of D&D had both of their names on it.
So probably the right thing to do is just give them both credit for the game and just move on, right?
Probably.
For everybody else.
Yeah, or take all credits off.
Or just get rid of the credits
That's
altogether.
Kind of what they've done recently.
It's not often, Mr. Smith, that I get to talk about articles that make me really happy. And this is an article that makes me really happy. I can see this
we're
one,
talking about
Devlin,
the one coming up, too,
yeah,
by the way.
This article that I'm about to put up on the screen here that Devlin's about to cut in to the YouTube comes from NPR. Pharmaceutical executive John Kapoor sentenced to 66 months in prison in opioid trial. So Devlin was like, I don't understand this. But here's the scary part is why did they go arrest Lewis Black, the comedian?
No doubt.
Like, that is totally Lewis Black. That's crazy. So if anybody's wondering what he looks like, now you know. A former billionaire, probably not anymore, and pharmaceutical executive John Kapoor has been sentenced to 5 years and 6 months in prison. His sentencing is the culmination of a months-long criminal trial in Boston's Milky U.S. courthouse that resulted in the first successful prosecution of pharmaceutical executives tied to the opioid epidemic. That's why this makes me happy. Because these sons of bitches were out there pushing this stuff. I mean, there's no other way to break it down. And flooding the streets with highly pure synthesized opiates. And just hillbilly heroin, as we like to call it in these parts. And now they're going to have to take some responsibility for it. So the 76-year-old is the founder of Insys Therapeutics, which made and aggressively marketed the potent opioid painkiller Subsys. Kapoor's 66-month prison term is substantially less than the 15-year sentence recommended by federal prosecutors, but is more than 1 year requested by Kapoor's defense attorneys, who maintained the executive's innocence and stressed his old age as a reason for a short prison sentence. Yeah, we should just let old people get away with whatever cantankerous bullshit they want, right? I don't think so. Two other executives pleaded guilty and became cooperating witnesses. I'm going to roll on the dawn. The other executives received between 1 year and 33 months, significantly less than many of the prison terms recommended by federal prosecutors. That's another thing. They are kind of letting these douchebags off a little easy. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad that at least they're going to prison. Yay. Like I said, that article makes me happy.
That could be bad for them in and of itself.
Just going to prison?
Yeah. Much like when child molesters go to prison, that's part of the sentencing, but sometimes other bad things happen.
Yeah, a little prison justice kind of thing, yeah.
Because there's probably a lot of people in there for drug charges or hooked or whatever.
Yeah, it was like I fell off a roof. I got your stupid meds, and now I'm in here because my whole life is gone now, and I want to strangle you with a bath towel.
Yeah, it could be, man. Might not be good.
So on another good note, this comes from the Daily Wire.
But on the positive side of pharmaceuticals and science.
Yeah. British scientists may have found a cure for cancer by accident.
Oops.
Okay,
Yay.
so Daily Wire. Let's see. I've heard this before, though. This has come up a lot. Go ahead.
I don't think that's an oops moment.
It was a oops, yay moment.
Yeah, by accident was what he was oopsing about, but yeah.
Oops, yay.
That's a eureka moment, I think is what Devlin's getting at, not an oops moment.
Oh, shit. I made the cure for cancer.
And millions of people are going to live. What a bastard. As the Telegraph reports, researchers at Cardiff University were analyzing blood from a bank in Wales looking for immune cells that could fight bacteria when they found an entirely new type of T cell.
What the hell is this? I don't know.
Holy shit.
Where did it come from?
What does it mean?
I know, right? Can you imagine finding something new in blood? Like, how rare is that?
Well,
I thought we understood blood fairly well.
You would think, right? Yeah, it just comes popping along. You're like, wait a minute, that's a new one.
Yeah, what's that?
The new immune cell carries a never-before-seen receptor, which acts like a grappling hook, latching onto most human cancers while ignoring healthy cells. Well, that seems very positive, yeah. What makes this new discovery so exciting is that prior therapies referred to as CAR-T and T-CAR-T therapies, I'm just saying that's the way those are pronounced.
I would say yes.
But maybe they're not, which use immune cells to attach to HLA molecules on cancer cells. On the cancer cell surface, fight cancer, but are incapable of fighting solid tumors. As the Telegraph points out, HLA molecules vary in people, but the new therapy attaches to a molecule called MR1, Mr. 1.
Mr. 1, yeah.
Which does not vary in humans, which gives it the chance of fighting most cancers and additionally means people could share the treatment. Ooh, like that. Allowing banks of cells to be stored and thus be offered quickly to people suffering from the disease. T cells, immune, these things. This is getting nuts, man, with the stuff that they're doing with like the different therapies that are being created from this stuff. Immune cells from the new treatment have killed lung, skin, blood, colon, breast, bone, prostate, ovarian, kidney, and cervical cancer cells, the study states.
Nice.
The study concludes, in summary, we describe a TCR that exhibits pan-cancer recognition via the variant MR1 molecule and by equipping patients with melanoma T cells that lack detectable cancer reactivity, the MC7, this is crazy. We rendered the T cells capable of killing autologous melanoma.
Some kind of skin cancer.
So they're like eradicating entire groups of cancer with this therapy. Well, let's find out when it's going to be coming out. Division of Infections, Immunity, Cancer, Immunology, blah, 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 added. If this transformative new finding holds up, it will lay the foundation for a universal T-cell medicine, mitigating against the tremendous costs associated with the infection. With the identification, generation, and manufacture of personalized T-cells. This is truly exciting and potentially a great step forward for the accessibility of cancer immunotherapy.
What I like the best is that last sentence where it says the research was published here. If you want to go look at the white papers.
Oh, yeah, right. Because you can actually go look at the data. Yeah, it's like, hey, here it is.
Yeah.
I'm getting heavy Resident Evil vibes from this.
Right.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, where they gave them an immunity and it turned everybody into zombies.
Yeah, T cells, the T virus. It's like,
Well, a good science fiction author of any kind is going to tap into as much. The science fiction I enjoy, and the author taps into like really relevant. That's why I like the
Andromeda Strain.
No, yes, that too. But what's his name there? The guy that Angels and Demons and the Da Vinci Code.
I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
And Dan Brown.
Yeah,
and I was always a big fan of the Tom Clancy books and stuff because of that. Now, what was really cool about that though was being in the military, reading his books, and looking out and him describing the shit you're seeing. That was really kind of neat. So anyway, I'm sorry, I digress. Cool. Yeah, published work. How do we get on this subject? Don't matter. Moving on.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is from NBCNews.com. Hoverboarding scientists found guilty of unlawful dental acts.
Were they dental acts?
I don't know what. Yeah. Well, we're going to have to read further. Video captured Seth Lockhart extracting the tooth of a sedated patient as he rode around on a hoverboard. Where did he get a hoverboard?
I don't know. Anti-gravity.
I didn't think they existed yet.
No, okay, so when
like
they
the
mean
Jetsons.
hoverboard, you know those boards with the 2 wheels on the sides?
Segway?
No, hold on, let me look it up.
Okay. He's got to go find it. I didn't know hoverboards existed. I've been waiting for these.
I know, right? Since 2000.
Ever since I seen Back to the Future 3
I've
or
been
2
waiting
or whatever.
19 years.
These things. It's a Segway without the handle.
It's got wheels.
Yeah, they're called hoverboards.
Well, that's a misnomer, a misnamer, or whatever you say that, because that's a rollerboard. That's not a hoverboard.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So that's what they're saying he was riding?
Yeah.
Is this thing? Swag board. T1 Pro misnamed hoverboard.
Yes.
Hey, they're in stock and they're only $259.
Ouch.
Mm-hmm.
5 stars.
5 stars. Yeah, you fucking fall off of them and break your head in 5 stars.
Too many videos like that.
Where are we at here?
Just
Okay.
another reason that you should be exercising.
Just walk.
Yeah.
Although I've rode Segways, they're fun. But watching someone that's never ridden one before,
It's more fun.
try to figure out how it works. I watched a lady I worked with go over the handlebars of a Segway.
Oh, geez.
That's great.
Woo! I thought, oh, she's dead. An Anchorage dentist captured on video extracting the tooth of a sedated patient as he rode a hoverboard has been found guilty by a judge of 46 counts levied against him.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's more than a few. After the incident expanded into a wider probe of his practices. Oh, I
goodness.
see. That was the tip of the proverbial iceberg. The Friday guilty findings against Seth Lockhart, 34, included counts of unlawful dental acts, reckless endangerment, and Medicaid fraud, according to NBC affiliate KTUU in Anchorage, Alaska. This is how they roll in Alaska, man.
Imagine falling while filling a cavity.
Yeah, oh, right, with sharp instruments inside someone's freaking mouth.
Ouch.
Yep,
Good
there it
Lord.
is. There's the hoverboard. You can see it.
He's definitely on a hoverboard there. Among the allegations outlined in charging documents was the hoverboard incident in 2016.
The hoverboard incident of 2016.
The hoverboard incident of 2016. Yeah. Seth Lockhart performed a dental extraction procedure on a sedated patient while riding a hoverboard and filmed the procedure and distributed the film to persons outside his dental office. That was a bad idea.
Yeah, that was a downfall of everything.
I'm going to put it on Facebook.
Someone did if he didn't.
Citing phone records, investigators said the dentist texted the video to at least 8 people and described his actions as, quote, a new standard of care. Prosecutors said he sedated patients needlessly, then billed taxpayers $10,000 for procedures. Well, needlessly. The patient in the video, Veronica Wilhelm, testified against Lockhart in December, saying, what you did was outrageous, narcissistic, and crazy. She's not lying.
Every time you go under, you could die. So,
his attorney, Paul Stockler, said in court, quote, I want you to know that as his lawyer, I apologize for what he did on that hoverboard. Even his lawyer is like, dude, I just can't.
yeah, sorry about the hoverboard, man.
Yeah, that's bullshit. He shouldn't have been doing that.
Yeah, no, we have nothing. Sorry.
The Alaska Dental Board suspended Lockhart's dental license. Dennis Romero on the scene. That's pretty funny, huh?
The lawyer apologizing for it was pretty
That's the first time I've ever seen that. I'm terribly sorry for my client's conduct.
Please strike the hoverboard from the record.
I don't want you to associate me with him.
You don't want to be known as the hoverboard lawyer.
Good Lord. So this fits right in our wheelhouse, doesn't it? In our state. This comes from Vice.com. An Ohio strip. Yay! OHIO. An Ohio strip club loses its license after accepting food stamps for lap dances and hard drugs.
Because they're not going to give you a lap dance for a joint. Like, they want something more hard than a joint, apparently. Hard drugs.
Hard drugs.
As opposed to soft drugs.
What's the soft drug?
I'm guessing that's like a joint, maybe an aspirin.
An aspirin?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's going to give anyone an aspirin for a lap dance.
I'm not giving you look at my boobies for a bottle of Tylenol.
Right,
it's not happening.
It's probably not a joint either. So it's got to be something better than that, whatever in the black market that is.
SNAP benefits are not to be used for tobacco products, alcoholic beverages, ornamental gourds. I don't know what that means. Or
like the gourds you hang up that you make in the bird nest.
Oh, okay. Sometimes. I guess that's literally what it means.
Ornamental gourds.
Or meth and boobs. Aw. They take the fun out of everything.
At least meth and boobs.
Ohio residents who receive Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP benefits for short, colloquially known as the food stamp program, can use those benefits to buy most food products, including breads, fruits, vegetables, meats, and even live lobster or shrimp.
Oh, well, that's nice.
But according to the USDA's Food and Nutrition Service, no one who receives SNAP benefits can exchange them for tobacco products, alcoholic beverages, or non-food products like vitamins, pet supplies, or inedible or ornamental gourds.
Yes, we all know these.
Did we?
We should have.
Okay. And here's where the Ohio State Highway Patrol would probably chime in to remind everyone that food stamps aren't supposed to be traded for lap dances or illegal drugs either. Sharky's Lounge, a strip club in Dayton, Ohio. Sharky's Lounge, ladies and gentlemen, in Dayton, Ohio, lost its liquor license on Thursday following a 5-month undercover investigation conducted by Highway Patrol agents. How would you like to be on that vice squad?
Yeah.
Where are you going today, honey? Work?
For 5 months.
Just work. And where are you going? You're going to a titty bar.
But it's work.
It's work. I have to be here. They make me. Yeah. Again, that's Sharky's Lounge in Dayton, Ohio. Where am I at here? According to a release from the department, its agents began investigating Sharky's Lounge in Dayton, Ohio in May of 2017. And while they pretended to be patrons, they were, see, that's what I mean.
Yeah, right.
So they got to go in and make it rain, make it rain. I'm undercover, make it rain. Pretend to be patrons. They were able to purchase drugs and lap dances. So they bought lap dances, make it rain, using food stamp benefits. The officers were also able to trade $2,404.87 worth of SNAP benefits from an entire M&M Records worth of drugs. Including methamphetamines, cocaine, heroin, fentanyl, and carfentanil.
It's a judgment about Eminem, apparently, by whoever wrote this.
I guess.
But you're like, what the fuck does he have to do with this?
How did Eminem get? Oh, because it's from Vice. We're gonna be trendy and relevant. We're gonna talk about Eminem
in a very unkind way.
Yeah. Quote: a lot of drugs were brought into that community because of that location.
Oh, yeah. Well.
Yeah, here we go. Agent in charge Michael Torrett told the Dayton Daily News, children, Eric, walk by there every day to go to school. For a place like that to be closed down, to not have people like that coming into the community is fantastic for kids and the people living in that area, end quote. So here's what's ironic about this. I wonder, other than the undercover cops, had anyone ever tried to buy a lap dance for food stamps and drugs in this place?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get what I'm wondering.
They used to call this shit entrapment, but you know.
How did they aren't those things like on cards?
Yeah, as I understand it.
So how is it that how do they
maybe I don't know.
How are they exchanging it?
Show me your boobies and I'll buy you a loaf of bread. I don't know. Yeah, it had something like that.
Yeah. Cuz see, isn't that the whole thing, like before they had the card, they had the physical food stamps, and people were able to physically give somebody $100.
Right, they were like in books.
Yeah. And so they went to the card to keep that from happening. So how are they doing that? Is how I just don't understand.
Well, the cops figured it out.
Yeah.
The cops knew how to do it. The Ohio State Police knew how to do it. Sharky's employees and its regulars are facing a lot, and I mean a lot of criminal charges, including drug trafficking, food stamp trafficking. I guess they still have the books. Aggravated shipment and distribution of heroin and illegal sexual activity. Aggravated shipment and distribution of heroin? Like, what the hell is that?
Like, what violence was involved?
And illegal sexual activity.
Which can be lots of things.
Yeah.
The
illegal sexual activity was lap dances for food stamps or whatever.
Probably.
The bust comes almost exactly a year after the Harem, another Dayton area strip club. Again with Dayton.
They probably bought blowjobs, honestly.
You think that's what it was?
Yeah, I mean, to be able to make it clear on that you've done something illegal, some sex act illegal for money. I don't think lap dances are illegal. Even if you give them money, it's like tipping or stripping. I think they'd have to do some kind of sexual,
like some sort of like legit.
Yeah, for money, I would think. I mean, and that's
penetration's 9/10 of the law or some shit like that, right?
And that's the thing about lap dances that people don't like, right? Or that they go for, isn't it? That they are hoping that with enough money they can just have more than a lap dance. Keep going.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. I've never been in a strip club, so I would never pay for a lap dance.
You've never been in a strip club?
I'm not going to pay money.
Well, I can't say
to see anything like that.
Between working in sales, being in the Navy, I've frequented many. I used to have a T-shirt collection from them, but I got married and that went away. This bust comes almost exactly a year after the Harem, another Dayton area strip club, was temporarily closed for similar violations. After a 9-month investigation, officers from the Ohio State Highway Patrol indicted 11 people on an assortment of charges that also included illegal sexual activity and illegal use of SNAP or special supplemental nutrition, blah, 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 women, infants, and children. The Harem was stripped of its own liquor license in May of 2018. The undercover agents conducted controlled drug buys at the Harem from a number of the defendants and observed the trading of food stamps and the cards used to obtain food stamps in exchange for sexual acts, for lap dances, and even illegal drugs. Montgomery County Prosecutor Matt Heck Jr. told the Dayton Daily News the undercover agents were propositioned for sex and observed other propositions and proposition transactions. In short, the Harem was being used basically as a sex and drug den. I don't read it that way. Because this is a very, okay, and this is going to get weird, right? But this is there's very much a civil libertarian living inside this weird exterior of mine that says that a lot of these vice crimes are even down to the point of the busts and the putting people in jail do far more harm than they do good to the society at large. So this is written very cavalierly, like, yay, look how good we're doing. But what doesn't get equaled out in this equation, and I get, like, I'm not saying people, hey, you should be able to buy a BJ with your SNAP card. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that you've taken these people that are obviously messed up, and you're locking them in cages now at taxpayer expense for years and years and years. So even though it's like, oh, this is so good for the society, the detriment to the society wasn't $30,000 a year worth of incarceration rate here.
So what you're
for
saying
all of these
is
people.
There's
11 people here, so you're talking $300,000 of incarceration fees per year for this one bust, right? I mean, that's a shit ton of money that taxpayers are forking over to do this. So I don't necessarily think vice cops are the way to handle this stuff. I think that this shit should definitely not just be prolific and everywhere, but I think it should be regulated. And like they're talking about, they built this place next to a school. Right. Well, then regulate it, dumbasses, and put it someplace where it's not next to a fucking school. Okay. Don't be stupid. Right. But so I don't think this is a huge win for society overall. Because, I mean, look at the SNAP benefits they were using. Was the SNAP benefits this individual was taking for sex acts more than $30,000 a year? Probably not even close.
I don't think they load those cards
Okay,
up
so
that much.
you saved that, but now you've increased this cost. And that's just the incarceration cost. That doesn't count the judge, the trials, the juries, the transportation, the health. It just goes on and on and on. Then being on probation, and then this was an income that maybe a family had that it no longer has because these people are going to jail. So now you've thrown those people that maybe weren't on SNAP benefits onto SNAP benefits because you just took their income source and locked it in a cage. And just overall, the whole thing is just, I'm not spiking the football here.
I think they should force those people to take a Reformation college course and then send them to church camp instead of jail.
And have them repent and then once that happens, everything's okay?
Well, repenting is a personal thing, but they could at least earn their piety back.
Maybe.
It's a blue law anyway, right?
Well, yeah, I know.
A lot of what you said had actually gone over my head.
So have them take a college Reformation class where they explain why the Protestants broke off from the Catholic Church and why they did that, and discuss like Protestant values, like most of our blue laws come from our Protestant heritage and such.
Right.
And the Protestant value is like a God-fearing, I'll just keep working, like the idea, idle hands or do the devil's work sort of a thing. That's a very Puritan saying. So they were all about working hard and being pious and having a personal relationship with God sort of a situation, right? And as opposed to the Catholics who had a Bible in Latin and didn't want people interpreting the verses in their way, and they were like an intermediary, and you had to do all these things, right? But the Protestants wanted their personal connection with God. And so they came over to America, and like John Winthrop had the whole city on the hill thing that Reagan echoed later on in the American speech, and it became very much a part about American values and moralistic situations and stuff, and that hegemony that we talk about that they're trying to propagate through their society and their kids and stuff, right? And so you could give them a class on that, and then you could back that up and reinforce it with a catechism sort of a situation where you put them in an adult church camp, and they re-go over those Puritan values.
Oh, like a catechism.
Yes.
Yeah, a Catholic catechism,
Yeah, except as a Protestant situation.
Definitely.
Because they used to fine people. There were some communities that would fine you if you didn't show up for church.
Look up what the average cost per year of imprisonment is in the United States. Look that up on Google. This will blow your fucking mind, right? This was the thing that broke me. When you look at this number of what it costs per person that you incarcerate, right? What it costs. There it is. $33,274 per year. In a lot of states, that's a pothole filler full time.
Yeah, that's about what a year of college costs.
Right? So every person that you think you're making society better for locking up, the first number you have to equate for that imprisonment is $33,274 worth of filled potholes capacity disappearing from the taxed budget. Yeah, so those 11 people that they're throwing in jail in Dayton is going to be over $300,000 of new taxable deficit to that community at large.
Without any education or moralistic lashing that I propose for that amount of money.
Right.
Because I'm at least proposing that you at least get to the source of the issue.
Oh, my God. Look at Devin's pointing out here. He's the range for this, by the way, it ranges from $14,780 a year in Alabama to $69,355 a year in New York.
So if you're going to go to prison, hope you go to New York and not Alabama, because they're cheap down there.
You'd be shocked, and I'm going to get off the soapbox right after this, okay? We'll wrap up. But you'd be shocked at how many people are in prison or in incarceration in states for things that are procedural. Like, got a parking ticket, couldn't pay the fine. That gets you a new fine that you can now not pay. That gets you another fine and now a summons. And then you don't show up. It's just like this cascading sequence of events that started with something that was like $100. But now someone's in prison, costing taxpayers, $33,000 a year because they couldn't pay a $100 parking ticket. This is the shit that goes on, like, for real. That's what, like, that's when it broke me. Like, as soon as I see anything about a big bust and a bunch of people going to jail, the first thing that goes through my mind is, well, there goes another $500,000 or another $300,000 of taxable benefit to me for my roads, for my police, for my, for my firefighters. All of this is disappearing from the economy. It's just gone, poof. But some idiot's locked in a cage for it.
And they have whole squads dedicated to it.
I just got
whole vice squads.
Got to find entirely different ways to deal with people's individual
whole vice
vices.
squads based on blue law, morals, and ethics.
Yep, it's nuts, right? And the cost is. Anyway, you guys got anything else you want to talk about? Let's get the hell off that subject.
Something. If I could think of something positive, I would. I can't think. I think
Always
I said it all
look on the bright. Oh, one of the Monty Python guys. Speaking of positive, one of the Monty Python guys passed away.
Terry Jones.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he always looked on the bright side of life.
A character of infinite jest.
Is that right?
Yeah, and
what are we doing here? Oh, Devlin's going to look it up for us. Monty Python. Yep, that's him.
Well, Terry Jones. One of the founders.
Was as funny as anyone in Monty Python. Yep. I don't know. I don't know enough about Monty Python. I have all the movies, but I'm a lame Python fan. Like, I've seen the movies, but I know, and John Cleese, right? I think is the only person I know out of the group. So
he, me and my son had just got through watching the first season. Just started the second season of the TV series.
Yeah.
So I'd watched the first season, and I recognize him from there, like especially down there, by right there, like that and stuff. Yeah. I recognize him and stuff, and as the younger guy, because we're just now watching it.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm sure there's a lot of people that listen to this show that like Monty Python.
Maybe, possibly.
Let us know if you like Monty Python in the comments down below. But all right, well, we'll wrap up there. Thanks for listening, everybody. Check us out at www.noshitcast.com. It's KNOWSHITCAST.com. What?
I'm just laughing. We'll just wrap up on the
death of
a comedian. All right.
Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Give us a share. We greatly appreciate it. And we will catch you all next time. Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye, Sickles.